Welcome, I'm Nid, Karma Guide, and this month's contemplation is how can we remain truthful in challenging situations. This is an element and an energy of maintaining our level of majesty, how we can be in the flow of our strength when there's apparent situations that can make us feel, I don't know, not so great. And there are more resources and tips that come out through this YouTube channel, but also there's a movement flow to go with this month that is in the Embody Life Sanctuary. So click on the link below if you want to get that movement practice as a part of supporting you this month into this flow. When we're looking at how we can stand in our truth when faced in challenging situations, one of the most common things I hear from my clients is, I can maintain my compassion, I can maintain my empathy when, I can see the person is deserving of that empathy and of that compassion, but it doesn't feel right necessarily at work or with that family member who's always been a little bit narcissistic or just really self-centered and greedy and challenging in the family dynamic. And maybe there's someone else in your life that sense resonates with. So how is it that we can maintain that compassion and empathy when we're confronted with someone who really triggers our anger, our frustration, our negative feelings that rise up and want to explode and rage out? Or perhaps you're somebody who that suppresses and you push it down and you push it down and you push it down, and it becomes an internalized kind of hate, maybe towards the world or maybe towards yourself, or has an anxiety around dealing with people. And those are the two extremes that we can push ourselves to when we're really struggling with being able to speak our truth in challenging situations. And neither of these do we actually end up staying in our own personal power and our truth, because what begins to happen is we become a bit black and white. It's like, this is my truth, this is what I want to say, this is what I perceive, this is what I believe. And by staying in that, you kind of become entrenched, and it can feel as though it's a strong position, it's a strong opinion. It can feel as though it is right. But actually, what we have to be careful of is that we are not maintaining an open fluidity and change, and understanding that as we learn and discover new things in this world, that perhaps that truth can shift and alter. So it's being too fixed, being too set. And this can also happen in creating something, in how we want to manifest. We can become really fixated that it needs to manifest in this way, and that we are going to have our outcome at all cost. This is going to be the way, the outcome, and it's my way or the highway kind of options that we're presenting. And generally, when we've gotten ourselves into that place, it becomes really closed. It becomes very limited, and we can't see other possibilities. We can say that we're trying, but trying is still that forceful energy, right? It's still this pushing upstream. And so we're going against the flow that would make life easy, makes it gentler, makes it just less suffering. So unless your spirit animal is a salmon and you are skilled at jumping upstream, pretty much all of us are better off flowing downstream, better off not doing that pushing, forcing, and trying, but allowing your strength to come from the flow of state of water that you are in. And that is a reflection of the flow of your emotions. When I say state of water, that reflection of your emotional state and how you can stay compassionate and empathetic to your emotional state as it is being triggered by other people. And other people, you must have compassion and empathy for them at the same time. Now, sometimes that can be a real stretch when somebody is really triggering a part of who you are. And so we have to make a choice to hold ourselves in compassion as we feel triggered, and to take the choice not to react or behave from that trigger. And a really helpful tool to stay in a conversation and maintain your truth when being triggered can be to actually ask questions and become more curious of the other person, to open an inquiry within your mind and your heart, and then see if you can reflect back at them an understanding of what it is that they are saying from their perspective, an understanding that has really listened and taken in the feeling as well as the thought of what they're saying. And this is what helps us keep an open heart and an open mind, which gives us a greater ability to maintain empathy and compassion when we're feeling really challenged and triggered by another person. And it's through this asking questions and reflecting back that you might be able to find common ground between what it is that your truth is and what you want to say and have them understand, and what it is that they're trying to say and what they want you to understand. And when we can start to find a common ground, a place where we're all in agreement with what is being said, with an intention, with a perspective, then there is possibility to start to see that there may be solutions for where we can't get to that same common ground, to where we are actually sitting in a different polar viewpoint of the world, the situation, or our emotional state. And through finding common ground, asking questions and remaining open, there is a possibility to create a new perspective and a shift for all of us that can open and hold vast array of perspectives of different truths, because each of us only has a truth in that very moment, and that may change. And we want to be allowing ourselves to change, allowing other people to change, because this is a part of our free will, our freedom of choice of our experience in each moment. And we want to honor and respect that in other people, and in turn honor and respect that in ourselves, because this is an ongoing truth that we each have that free will and that right to change our perspective and change our perceived truth in each moment. And so hopefully you can get a sense that with that curiosity, with that reflecting back, that way of softening some of the engagement with a view to finding common ground, there is a possibility for a peaceful outcome that grows and reflects more people. Now, what do you do if that person really doesn't seem to want to give you that common ground area? Well, that is where you're really wanting to tap into empathy, because often a block of willingness to find common ground is because they've really closed off their heart. There's a feeling that they're really, really unwilling to connect with. And your place is going to be to try and tap into that, to try and find what that pain is that is closing their heart, to be able to find common ground, to be able to connect with their own feeling, connect with their majesty, and to connect with you to find a solution. This isn't about prodding and poking, asking difficult questions that are painful, but it's using that sense of empathy and your ability to feel different pain in yourself to see where that might be rising. And often it is a person's trigger that is the pain. So if you can know and understand their pain, then you can begin to offer that bridge, that common ground for them to see that it's both ways. And that often can soften their heart, can soften their mind and their state to be more open and begin to see, recognize and acknowledge common ground for you to make that step forwards. So putting the other person first, understanding their perspectives, their trigger, and how it is that you can support them is most often the way that we can move forwards from standing in our truth and battling against each other, so that we can both hold our truths independently but together to create a bigger picture. If you found this a helpful resource, please comment and share below, and we'd love to see you over in our community where there's more support resources and ongoing challenges that go with these videos. Have a wonderful week.